Welcome, curious souls, to another episode of Science Decode, where we uncover the extraordinary truths hiding behind humanity's most captivating stories. I'm your host, and today we're embarking on a spine-tingling journey through the shadowy realm where ancient myths meet startling scientific reality. Have you ever wondered if the monsters that haunted our ancestors' nightmares were real? Today, we're pulling back the veil on legendary creatures that seem too fantastical to exist, only to discover that truth, as always, is stranger than fiction. Let me start with a story that'll make your skin crawl. Picture this. You're walking through a misty forest in China, and suddenly you see what looks like a gentle deer approaching through the fog. But as it draws closer, you freeze in absolute terror. Two gleaming white fangs, nearly 3 inches long, protrude from its mouth like something from a vampire's nightmare. Meet the Chinese water deer, nature's own vampire, lurking in the reeds and wetlands of East Asia. For centuries, local folklore whispered about these demon deer that could deliver a fatal bite. Ancient Korean beliefs actually forbade hunting them, convinced their fangs carried deadly poison. But here's the beautiful irony. These vampires are completely vegetarian. Those terrifying tusks, they're for fighting other males during mating season, not for sucking blood. The scientific name, Hydropotes inermis, literally means unarmed water drinker, perhaps nature's greatest understatement ever. What breaks my heart is how these magnificent creatures embody humanity's deepest fear, being deceived by appearances. We looked at those fangs and created monsters in our minds, when in reality, we were staring at one of nature's most gentle souls. But if vampire deer make you uncomfortable, let me introduce you to something that will absolutely devastate your sense of what's possible. Close your eyes and imagine the most terrifying sea monster from your worst nightmares, a creature so massive it could drag entire ships into the crushing depths of the ocean. The Norse called it Kraken, a beast so colossal that sailors mistook its sleeping form for an island. Bishop Eric Pontoppidan wrote in 1753 that this monster had a circumference of 2.5 kilometers, so enormous that an entire regiment of soldiers could practice battle maneuvers on its back. For 1,000 years, this was pure fantasy. Until 2004, when scientists filmed something that shattered everything we thought we knew about the deep ocean. The giant squid, Architeuthis, stretching up to 55 feet long with tentacles that could crush a man's bones, had been hiding in the depths all along. When researcher Edie Witter captured the first live footage 2,000 feet below the Pacific surface, she wasn't just documenting a species, she was proving that sometimes the monsters are real. Can you feel the weight of that revelation? Every sailor who ever claimed to see tentacles the size of ship masts rising from the abyss weren't lying. They were witnessing one of Earth's most magnificent and terrifying predators, a living nightmare that had been gliding through our oceans since before humans walked upright. But perhaps the most heartbreaking tale belongs to a creature that Game of Thrones made legendary, the direwolf. For 250,000 years, these magnificent predators roamed the Americas, 50% larger than today's wolves, with jaws powerful enough to crush the bones of massive Ice Age mammals. Recent DNA analysis revealed something that humbles me to my core. Direwolves weren't just big wolves. They were an entirely separate lineage, isolated for 6 million years. They couldn't even interbreed with modern wolves. They were truly alone, adapted for a world that was disappearing beneath their feet. But here's where science fiction becomes reality. In 2024, Colossal Biologics announced they had used CRISPR technology and ancient DNA to create wolf hybrids with dire wolf characteristics. They named them Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi. Though experts debate whether these are true dire wolves or modified gray wolves, we're witnessing the first attempts to resurrect extinction itself. What moves me most deeply about these stories is how they reveal the profound truth about human nature. We've always sensed that there were wonders hidden in the shadows, creatures beyond our understanding prowling at the edges of our reality. Our ancestors didn't just create these myths from nothing. They were processing real encounters with a natural world far stranger and more magnificent than we ever imagined. The cyclops myths might have come from ancient Greeks finding elephant skulls with their single nasal opening. Griffin legends could trace back to nomadic peoples discovering protoceratops fossils while mining for gold. Every myth is a bridge between what we see and what we feel, between the rational world of daylight and the mysterious realm of shadows where impossible things dwell. When we dismiss these stories as just myths, we're closing our hearts to the profound wisdom our ancestors encoded in these tales. The vampire deer teaches us that our fears often blind us to beauty. The Kraken reveals that the ocean still holds mysteries that dwarf our imagination. The dire wolf reminds us that even the mighty can fall, but also that science might offer second chances to those lost to time. As we wrap up today's journey into the shadows between truth and legend, I want you to remember something powerful. The next time you encounter a story that seems too incredible to believe, ask yourself what truth might be hiding beneath its fantastic surface. Because in this magnificent, mysterious world of ours, sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the truest ones of all. Thank you for joining me on Myths, Science, and Legends. Keep your sense of wonder alive, keep questioning, and never stop believing.